Susan trying to get the bikes out of the trailer. She's somewhere back there, aren't you?
Yes.
Buried in the back of in the bowels of the trailer. That's funny. Alright, Susan's got a big And with the sunrise at our backs, we're off on the first day of our trip in South Dakota and Wyoming. Today's ride's going to take us from Rapid City through places like Nemo, along the Vanacker Canyon Road, in through Spearfish, Deadwood, Belforche, past Hewlett, and down eventually to Devil's Tower. And we make our way back similarly, avoiding Interstate 90 so that we can stay on the more picturesque and beautiful roads along this incredible route. The cowboy poet Charles Badger Clark once penned these words about this region. There the world's the same as the day was new, with the land as clean as the smokeless sky, and never a noise as the years have flew, but the sound of the warm wind drifting by. And there alone, with the man's world far, there's a chance to think who you really are. And although this place isn't as untouched as it was in Badger Clark's days, it sure is beautiful. And just a great place to be on your motorcycle. There's no other way to explore this place that I can think of that would be any better than in the saddle of your bike.
Is it closed? No, it's not open.
Let me see. Hard getting on and off the bike with the cases on.
Hop, skip, and a jump. Yeah, no.
It'll open all the way if you get it right.
Hi there.
Good morning.
You need the rubber caps on the end. Oh, your glasses away. Watch it.
Sometimes when you're riding on your bike and your jacket's a little unzipped, a bee can get in there and then it just stings you. And it's a little disconcerting when you're on a bike and there's a bee in your coat. Also, I advise you close your visor. My wife forgot to zip her jacket up and she paid the price. Luckily, she's not allergic. Okay, you're fine.
Is it cricket? Yep.
See it? I'm not sure if you can see this or not, but and probably not, but there's a guy in a teal shirt and he is climbing about midway. There's one person up on a ledge and there's another person right below that person. That's crazy. This incredible object of nature sits about 1,200 feet above the plains of Wyoming and the Belforest River. It's also about the size of a football field on top, and it isn't a volcano. It's made of igneous rock, pushed up probably through some volcanic activity. It's about 50 million years old. Good job. Hey, good. You were second to last. You were last.
That's right.
Yeah, I was watching you from way down there. You guys did great.
Thanks.
Oh, that's fantastic. Did you guys go all the way to the top?
We did.
Yeah.
Tell us what's up there.
You gotta go find out.
Yeah, no.
There's a whole,
Right. My finding out ended at like 50, so you guys are good. Is there a gondola? Because on the other side. Well, what's it like up there?
You gave us a whole history lesson.
Yeah,
It's
pretty
a piece
cool.
of prairie land, really.
It's pretty
A
cool.
lot of cactus, some grass, a lot of sagebrush.
Okay.
Some rocks.
Just this place elevated.
Pretty much.
Yeah, cool.
Slightly domed, so it feels like you're just on top of the hill.
So how long did it take you to do the climb and then the descent?
We did a victory lap on a couple of routes.
Yeah, we went up and then did some more and then came down.
Wow.
How many football fields would you say the top is?
It's about one. It's 1 acre.
One football? 1 acre? Okay.
It's 1 acre on top.
There's not like an old man up there that just answers what the secret to life is.
Yeah.
Shows you a mirror.
There's a couple bees.
There's some bees up there, yeah. Well, and the birds seem to be at home up there, yeah. Hawks. Well, that's great. Well, congrats, guys.
Thanks.
All right.
Hell of a day.
Where are you guys from?
Yeah, take care. Good luck.
I live here.
Oh, you live here. Okay.
From New England. I live in New Hampshire.
Okay. So you took these guys up? Is that-
Yeah.
Sure did.
Okay. So when you're out in
They
New
took me
Hampshire,
up,
you can
really.
climb something similar.
Yeah, hopefully.
Ah,
One
got
day.
that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great. Have a good one.
Sick. So actually, do you guide these? Or just some friends? Alright, good. I do it. Yeah. Yeah, gotcha.
Afterwards, I stopped into the visitor center. I wish I had before I talked to the climbers because I might have had some different questions for them. I learned something really important here, that basically this magnificent beautiful mountain that springs from the earth, and incredibly unique, is very sacred to the Indians in this area and has been for 1,000 years, maybe longer. And it really affects them psychologically and spiritually when people climb this mountain, and to the point where they really don't appreciate it, even though 5,000 to 6,000 climbers do it each year. The miles pass pretty quickly as you ride through the open plains. There's so much great stuff to see. The mountains, the prairie, the open sky. The sky just goes on forever and ever in Wyoming and South Dakota, especially in these open areas where it's just spread out and just beautiful. There are many routes you can take to avoid Interstate 90, especially since you don't want to be stuck on an interstate going 80 miles an hour unless you're in a hurry to get someplace. In this case, it might have helped us get back a little sooner. Talk about that later, because we were on our bikes at nightfall and it gets a little bit nerve-wracking with all the deer and stuff on the road.
Rolling through these hills, and then you come over one of them and the entire sky opens up and you can basically see forever.
I guess for us, being on a motorcycle is about as close to freedom as you're going to get, and probably as close to flying as you're going to get while still being on the ground. The wind is rushing by you, can see everything, smell everything, feel everything around you, and it's just an incredible feeling, especially when you're in a place as wide open as Wyoming and South Dakota, in this prairie area especially.
Hello?
Is this thing straight?
Yeah.
Sure.
No. No. Oh, funny.
With the sun hanging low in the sky and we're just leaving Spearfish, we had a long way to go to get back, and started to sink in that, hey, we might end up having to ride at night. You can see the sun is pretty low in the sky, and around this time of year, daytime is getting shorter. As you can see, as we get back into the canyon country here, we're heading up into the hills. You can see the different colors on the rock here, and as the sun was hitting this, it just turned a bright orange and red color. It was just magnificent to see the sun against these ancient formations on the side of the hills. Well, here's Deadwood, South Dakota. Even though we didn't go back into the old part of downtown, you can see some of the historical buildings around here as we drive through. I mean, if we had more time, we'd probably explore Deadwood a little bit more. It's a cool old town. We've been there before, but we just had to get back to Rapid City, so no time to really hang around and sightsee, as it were, unless we wanted to drive those canyon and mountain roads at night. And I can tell you now, it's probably not a great idea, especially if you don't know where you're going. Where the hell are we? I mean, no one knows. This is the middle of nowhere, South Dakota. I mean, literally in the hills. It's almost nightfall.
Come back to Noah for me.
Yeah, it's about to get somewhat dicey on the roads out here. As nightfall comes, they warn you that deer and bighorn sheep wander on the road, even buffalo. It's not really the safest place to ride at night. You're about to find out why. Like a ghost that appears out of nowhere, the deer just sprang across the road into my headlight. That's why you're able to see it. Sorry for the grainy film, but I was absolutely within hundredths of a second of hitting that deer. So close I could see its fur moving in the wind as it went in front of my bike. Very, very close call. Needless to say, I was driving the rest of the way very, very slow, and very, very thankful that I didn't hit that deer going 45 miles an hour on my bike. Whatever your luck ratio is, your chance, your fate, you leave an area 2 seconds earlier, you go 2 seconds later, you miss something so narrowly and so closely that it kind of freaks you out. Fate, it's a funny thing, but I was in hundredths of a second of colliding with that deer. It was great to be back at the hotel with my wife safe and sound, and just happy I didn't get killed or seriously injured hitting that deer.